Okay guys, so this is a video I have been wanting to do for some time, and it's about climate change. I saw a video today from Russell Brand. It was actually an interview type movie, where he brings somebody on to talk and discuss things that actually triggered my memory about this video that I wanted to do. And it was entitled, what was it entitled again? It was entitled something about climate change. I wrote it down. Okay, here it is. It was entitled Bjørn, Lomborg, and Russell Brand Debate Climate Change. And I will, as always, direct link to the video and the description below. But I just wanted to get a couple of things on the table because I feel like I haven't said anything on this specifically, and I wanted to say a couple of things about it because I did like some digging on like climate change, global warming, and there was this event, well, not necessarily event, but back in the 70s. If you remember the 70s, if you were born, in the 60s or the 50s or before that, and you remember the time frame, then you remember global cooling. Okay, so global cooling happened in the 70s, and it was something that scientists thought was going to be like a bigger threat, but it turned out to not really amount to much. Here's a little snippet from, I think Wikipedia or something, that says, global cooling was a conjecture, especially during the 1970s, of imminent cooling of the Earth, culminating in a period of extensive glaciation, I believe that says, due to the cooling effects of aerosols or orbital forcing. Some press reports in the 1970s speculated about continued cooling. These did not accurately reflect the scientific literature of the time, which was generally more concerned with warming from enhanced greenhouse effect. Okay, I feel like this is a bunch of backpedaling. Basically, scientists trying to cover their asses. Sorry for use of language, but I don't care. That's basically what it was, because a lot of media, big media of the day, used like global cooling. They put it out there, and they really, it looks as if they were trying to scare the people. Okay, Time magazine was one of them. I'm going to put up a couple of their front page reports of global cooling. Okay, so we have well, here's one from Science News. The ice age cometh. They've got one for let me see. They've got one side by side that shows the difference between Time magazine reporting on how to survive the coming ice age from 1977. 51 things you can do to make a difference. And then it's side by side with one for global warming, which says, be worried, be very worried. And that was from 2006. Okay. So as you can see, they've been talking about global warming for some time. Here are a couple other ones from Discover, a new ice age. They've got some, what are these? Newspaper clippings, preparing the world for a new ice age. February 79, I think. Is when the clippings coming from. New ice age coming. It's already getting colder. This was in 1971, October 24th. Okay, in search of the upcoming ice age or so. So it just goes on, and I'm going to add these clippings to the video. But as you can see, this is what the media does. They blow things out of proportion. And as the little clipping from Wikipedia told you, it was all conjecture. And so basically, they were discussing that, all conjecture, all bunk, nothing that big, but they scared the hell out of people during the 70s about it. So I just want to say, they want me and you and everyone who's now being not so much force fed, but kind of, this global warming is being shoved down our throats. And not to say it's nothing that we shouldn't be aware of, because I just feel like it's being blown out of proportion. Even with watching that video from Russell Brand today, with his guest who knew a lot more about it than I did. And even he stated that, like basically he told a story about a whale, and if you watch the video, you'll understand more of it. But basically, in summary, we would need a substitute for burning coal and gasoline, because as you know, you still have to burn coal to power the power grid that creates the electricity to power your electric vehicle. Whenever you use electricity, you have to burn coal initially. So we would have to find a substitute that could substitute all those little things that we use to basically power our whole world. And he makes a good he gives a good point about how we would basically that's basically what we would have to do in order to do a little bit better, because it wouldn't just fix everything. If you're looking for an all fix, it wouldn't fix everything. One, they brought up a good point, because people are not going to drop, none of us, well, a few of us, but the majority of us are not going to drop our whole lives. We're not going to cut our whole lives in half to just cut back on everything. I mean, we're doing what we can. Some people are recycling here and there. Some people are they're trying to not flush the toilet, or they're using colder water when they wash their clothes or wash dishes, or they're doing little things here and there. They go to the store, do this to save a little bit on global. Yeah, sure, whatever. People do that, but we're not stopping our whole lives for this thing. The majority of people, and I'm saying that it's not me bringing it into reality, saying, oh, because I say it, that's happening. No, the proof is in the pudding. The majority of people are not going to stop their whole lives just so we can do a little bit better with the planet as a whole. It's just not going to happen. It's just not realistically going to happen. And also with people who have big money, and they're telling us that we have to do these things, like with the private plane, flying them around. They're not stopping flying private planes. So how does that look? They're saying one thing, doing another. They're not stopping their lives. The celebrities are not stopping their lives. The politicians are not stopping their lives. The higher ups and the elites, quote unquote, are not stopping their lives. So what's going on here? Okay. And I just say all that to get to my main point, which is to bring it back to this global cooling versus global warming. So this, as they assert that it was conjecture, that it was something a couple of scientists said that wasn't interpreted well in the media, because the media blew it out of proportion and scared a lot of people in the 1970s. Well, they say that was all conjecture, but the real problem is the global warming, which I stated we really can't fix entirely due to the way human nature is, and the way that it would have to be fixed with a better substitute overall. It's really not going to happen. So they want us to believe this global cooling wasn't conjecture, and that global warming, which scientists and whoever else, smart, intelligent minds of our age, have been trying to have been working on and researching for over hundreds of years, and that still hasn't come to full fruition. They want us to believe that this is just as imminent as, oh my God, like it's coming. You better do something, because here comes global warming. It's gonna kill you. Like even some of the there are reports from as early as 2017, probably earlier. Time magazine, okay. Polar bears on thin ice. The special report: global warming. Global warming is coming. Newsweek even has this little piece here: global warming is a hoax, or so claim well-funded naysayers who still reject the overwhelming evidence of climate change inside the denial machine. It's like The Big Thaw from National Geographic. So you got all these things, pumped out through the media. Scientists say, well, global cooling wasn't the truth didn't come out, and the media didn't do their job. Well, how's the media doing now? Is the media still portraying the scientists accurately, what their findings are finding? Because you guys have been working on this for over 100 years or more. I don't see any major things that have occurred that have stopped the common man from going to work and doing what he does, 9 to 5, coming home, and it's stopping his life entirely. So why are you trying to scare the public into submission with this whole climate change, global warming thing? I'm not saying it's all bunk. I'm just saying it's not as terrorizing as you're trying to portray it in the media. Stop trying to scare everybody. Even President Biden's coming up, and this is in January 31st, 2023 of this year. Biden calls global warming bigger threat to humanity than nuclear war during New York City speech. I think I found that in, it was in his education, so I had to look up the article, of course. It's like, why would you even say that? I'm pretty sure that a nuclear bomb going off tomorrow would be more of a threat than this global warming that you've been saying has been coming since before 100 years ago. And you've all been really looking into it and really researching it. And hopefully the media is getting your point across this time, because the last time was bunk, and we're still waiting on that global warming that's bigger than nuclear threat. Okay, you see where I'm going with this? Like, I'm not saying that it's not true. I'm just saying that they're making more of a bigger deal about this than has to be. I think that a lot of large corporations, a lot of people in high places are using this to just do whatever they want to do and try to control the public as much as possible, taking resources from us and making sure that we don't use as much of our resources as we would have used if they hadn't tried to scare us into submission with this. That's all I'm saying. Okay? That's it.